Brothers, sisters, and guests, as the IAFF gathers just blocks from the scene of the New Year's Day terror attack, we honor the memories of those killed, pray for their families, and wish a full and speedy recovery for all those injured. May they all be held in the warmth of God's loving embrace. Brothers, sisters, and guests, please welcome Father John Talamo Jr., chaplain of the New Orleans and Jefferson Parish Fire Departments.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. As you saw, so tragic here in our city. It can happen anywhere in the world. And one of the things we have to remember is that when Christ came into the world, it was an evil world back then as well, too, because of sin. And the Jewish people at that time were fed up, and they had given up hope, complete hope, that some earthly king would make their lives better and restore them in their kingdom, because they were at that time a people without a land, even though they were God's chosen. And so when Jesus was born into this world 2,000 years ago, he was born into a world like ours today, still infected and will always be infected by evil. But today is January 6th, and traditionally, throughout the Catholic and Christian world, we commemorate what's called the Feast of the Epiphany, which means 3 men came from the Far East, 3 kings, to present our Lord gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And when they presented those gifts to the ultimate king, they went down on bended knee and worshiped the one that God himself sent, his Son, to be our Savior into the world. Now, the word epiphany means manifestation. Christ being made manifested, being made known into the world. And so when you see a world like we just witnessed here in our own city, we know that evil still persists. But there are many, many good people as well, too. And we can't lose our focus on that. Just the other day, I was in one of the local grocery stores, and there was a man in front of me and a gentleman in front of him. But the gentleman in between the two of us looked totally disheveled, and he looked like he was homeless. And so as he stood there with his few groceries in his hand, I had already had my card out. So when the lady would ring him up, I was going to hand him my card. And so just when I placed my card in front of him so that he wouldn't have to pay, the lady says, "Oh, don't worry, Father." She says, "Don't worry. The gentleman ahead of you guys already paid the bill. He left this $40 and he said to give him the extra." There are many, many good people in our world. That's how we make Christ manifested, in spite of these tragedies, by loving and respecting each other, by forgiving each other, and being Christ for this world. And so as you guys gather, we ask God's blessing upon all of you. May He protect you while you're here in this city, and may God grace you, bless you for all of the good that you do, putting your lives on the line each and every day, not only to save property, but to save lives, lives of people who become vulnerable because of evilness in our world. May your time here be beautiful. May it be joyful. May it be grace-filled. And may God's blessing descend upon each of you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Have a wonderful stay in our city. God bless you all.
Please stand for the presentation of colors, led by the Jefferson Parish Fire Department Honor Guard, IAFF Local 1374. And please remain standing for the anthems of our two great nations, performed by IAFF staff member Shannon Lindsay.
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Please be seated. Brothers, sisters, and guests, please welcome the President of IAFF Local 632, Aaron Mishler.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome y'all here to the Fighting 14th in our beloved city of New Orleans. First off, I'd like to pass on the apologies of the mayor. She's being pulled in a million different directions the past couple of days, so she won't be able to make it here this morning. But we have some of our firefighters who were at the scene the other day. I think they're here. If they can come up on stage for a second. They're a little shy. If I can get Brother Kelly up here with us. Edzo.
Where's the squad?
I don't know where the squads are. One of the other companies was supposed to be here. They're running a little late. Frankie, come up. We just wanted to, point y'all out in the gratitude that we all have for the work that y'all do. It doesn't go unnoticed. It's hard. It's treacherous and dangerous. And everybody in here has been there and will continue to show up for every call, every alarm. And we appreciate y'all. We love y'all guys. Thank y'all. Thank you, brother. They're all on duty today. All the guys who made that call are on duty today, so these are the ones who can make it in. But some other things, Father Talamo kind of stole my thunder with the story of the Epiphany. I wanted to give a little lesson this morning on the significance of January 6th in the city of New Orleans. We have deep Catholic and Christian roots in the city of New Orleans, and the Epiphany is a big day. The Magi reached Jesus, and he told you the story of the three gifts, and that's the religious significance in New Orleans of January 6th. I mean, everybody's heard the political issues with January 6th, but here in New Orleans, it's also a deep cultural meaning of January 6th. It's called King's Day, and it's also called Twelfth Night. Last night was actually Twelfth Night. It's 12 days after Christmas, and today marks the end of the Christmas season, and in New Orleans, it begins the carnival season. So y'all are here on a very significant day in the city of New Orleans to have this conference. And I know there's probably some of my other brothers and sisters here from the Fighting 14th out of Mobile, Alabama. Don't listen to those lies that Mardi Gras started anywhere in Alabama. I'm sure they'll try to pass that fake news on later on. But be that as it may, even if it was, New Orleans takes what we like and makes it better. Festivals, you know, you look at fun, festivals, and food, we do that better than anybody else. So we'll take other people's things, add our touch to it, and make it that much better. Just like we hope to do with this Alts conference. We're going to put our touch on it, make it that much better, make sure our hospitality is here to make sure y'all have a great time, learn everything y'all can from this great board, the executive board who put this together, all the fine staff members at the IAFF who've helped us accomplish the things that we've accomplished here in New Orleans, which is unbelievable. But we appreciate everything y'all do. And no disrespect to my brothers and sisters from Cleveland, but Tennessee Williams got it almost right when he said there's 3 cities in the country, or in the world really, New York, San Francisco, all right, New Orleans, everywhere else is just Cleveland. So, again, I'd like to welcome y'all to New Orleans. Y'all have a great time. Let's have some great classes and have a great Alts. Thank you.
New Orleans, a city of resilience. Nearly 20 years ago, Hurricane Katrina put this spirit to the ultimate test. When the storm hit, homes were lost, families were displaced, and lives were forever changed.
I thought, well, the city's gone, The city of New Orleans is no more.
But in those dark hours, when over 1,800 lives were lost, countless souls were saved because there were leaders who refused to give up, men and women who stood strong for their communities.
It goes back to our training, our skill set, our preparedness, our determination, and above all, the courage of the firefighters. But we were able to excel under some very adverse conditions.
45 IAFF locals from across our international stood on the front lines of the storm, delivering aid wherever it was needed. Members showed extraordinary character and courage, acting with strength and resolve, even as the world they knew was swept away.
Not a single firefighter abandoned their post. And I think it says a lot about the character.
Leadership isn't just about responding in the moment. It's about rebuilding, restoring hope, and leading the way forward. Leadership is knowing the way, going the way, and showing the way. And that's this IAFF. That strength unites us and drives us forward. We come together in the Crescent City to strengthen our mission of leadership, to hone the skills and sharpen the tools we need to serve our sister and brother members and the neighbors who depend upon us. There is no one else coming. It's us, the IAFF. Brothers and sisters, please welcome the trustees and the executive board of the International Association of Firefighters. The Region 1 trustee, Scott Marks, representing Canada. The Region 2 trustee, Mark S. Willett, representing the Eastern United States, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean islands. And the Region 3 trustee, Tony Mejia, representing the Western United States, the Canal Zone, and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. 1st District Vice President, James Slevin, representing New Jersey and New York. 2nd District Vice President, Mark Woolbright, representing Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and Nebraska. 3rd District Vice President, Jay Colbert, representing Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and Vermont. 4th District Vice President, Andrew Pantelis, representing Delaware, the District of Columbia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and West Virginia. 5th District Vice President, Malin Mitchell, representing Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. 6th District Vice President, J. Michael Carter, representing Alberta, British Columbia, the Northwest Territory, Saskatchewan, and Yukon. 7th District Vice President, Ricky J. Walsh, representing Alaska, Idaho, Montana, and Washington. 8th District Vice President, Mark Sanders, representing Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Michigan, and Ohio. 9th District Vice President, Michael Frenier, representing Colorado, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, and Wyoming. 10th District Vice President, Stephen Gilman, representing Arizona, California, Hawaii, New Mexico, and the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands. 11th District Vice President, Michael Glenn, representing Oklahoma, Texas, and the Canal Zone. 12th District Vice President, Walter J. Dix, representing Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Puerto Rico, and the Caribbean Islands. 13th District Vice President, Fred LeBlanc, representing Manitoba, Ontario, and the Territory of Nunavut. 14th District Vice President, Danny Todd, representing Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee. 15th District Vice President, Chris Ross, representing New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Quebec. 16th District Vice President, James B. Johnson, representing all federal firefighters of the United States and Canada. General Secretary-Treasurer of the IAFF, Frank V. Lima, and the General President of the International Association of Firefighters, Edward A. Kelly. Brothers and sisters, your IAFF trustees and executive board. Brothers, sisters, and guests, please welcome your IAFF General President, Edward A. Kelly.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, when the saints. Hey, great to be here in New Orleans. I'm so proud to be here with all of my brothers and sisters, IAFF leaders. Let me say it again. I'm proud to be here in New Orleans with all of you. You know, from small towns, big cities, and everywhere in between, all across the U.S. and Canada, the IAFF lead in their communities, and you lead them. You help them lead by standing shoulder to shoulder, answering the call, whatever it is. It's what we do. And that's what our New Orleans firefighters did in the early hours of the year 2025, right down the street from here. It's who we are. It's what we do. We represent hope for the hopeless. We're a beacon of light for those that are lost. And we're there on a stranger's worst day, and sometimes we die trying to make it better. Our brothers and sisters in New Orleans did us proud. The opposite of bad is good. The opposite of hate is love. Some would describe love as an emotion. Some would describe love as involuntary. But when evil strikes and hate rears its head, usually in about 4 minutes, you can hear love coming. And then it rolls down the street in a big red truck. And you can see it in the eyes. Those people getting off those trucks. And love always trumps hate. You know, the carnage that was caused that day was unimaginable to some, but not to us. Not to those brothers and sisters of ours from NOLA. Local 632 members did what IAFF members do all across our two great nations. They did everything they could do to save lives, and did. And I'm sick of people calling these murders a tragedy. I'm also sick of people not calling a terrorist attack what it is: pure evil. And guess what? Just like when we respond to accidents, fires, a medical emergency, within minutes, it's us. IAFF members are on the scene to bring some order to that chaos. When you think about the threats that we are faced in our two nations, that we all, and the members we're here to represent, took an oath to protect, we are in the fire service, the IAFF members, who protect about 85% of the population in our countries. We are an indispensable piece of the battle being waged against our way of life. Hey, in the harsh realities after a terrorist attack, it's a gut check. And just like your local back home, your members that are on a truck right now look to you for leadership. The community, the people we took an oath to protect, look for leadership from us. And that's what we're going to do, all of us. We're going to lead, and that's why we're here this week. To prepare, to learn, to get ready, to lead. You know, I was talking to Frankie the other day, and I was struggling, literally struggling, saying, no, it can't be less than 4 years since we took office. It feels much longer than that. But Frankie and I and this executive board have only been in office for about 3 years and 9 months. And with your help, with all our help, all of us together, we're leading the IAFF to new and exciting horizons. Things that we've struggled with for decades, we're getting done. In-house, our financial house is in order. Trust has been restored in the IAFF. The EPC recommendations, we've done. As a union, hey, we've had some tumultuous times. All unions go through that. You might be going through it at home right now. But at the IAFF, your board, your DVP will tell you, those times are behind us. But they do serve as a reminder of our obligation to make it better, to make this union better. We owe it to now, what is now 353,000 professional firefighters and EMS workers that call the IAFF their union. You know, we promised you that the IAFF would go wherever the fight is. And we've taken on the NFPA and finally changed the standard which drove the introduction of PFAS into our bunker gear. We pushed the Biden administration to get the OSHA emergency response standard off the shelf, and for the first time, address firefighter safety in the public sector. And we didn't make friends doing it. But remember, leading a union is a war mission. We die for strangers. We may as well fight for each other. That's what the union does. This past August, where's Aaron? We went to the greatest city in the world, Boston, Massachusetts, and we had the largest convention in the IAFF's history. And we did the work of the members. We did things like establish the Firefighter Fidelity Fund, so that if they're going to come at us for doing our jobs, whomever it is, we're coming right back at them. We have our groundbreaking medical assistance program, where we're not leaving our widows and survivors behind when the city and the insurance industry comes after their pensions, or our members that are struggling with disabilities or illnesses that need help. We're going to be there for them. We also devoted money to research the link between us being firefighters and our children contracting cancer. At the IAFF, we take on tall battles and we swing for the fences. And we're seeing results. And people are taking notice. A recent survey told us what we already knew. It ranked the IAFF as the #1 most respected and valued union in the world. Not our doing. We didn't run that survey. We didn't run that survey. It's all great stuff. It really is. We have a lot to be proud of, and we should be. But it's no time for a victory lap. We have work to do. We have work in D.C. We have work in Ottawa. You have work back at home. The battles still come at us every single day. Some of the battles are internal, we're going to deal with. Some are external. But the skills you work on, that you're going to work on here this week, you're going to use every day. Those skills, those leadership skills, you know, a lot of times we can translate what we learn and do on the fireground to what we do as union leaders in the union hall. It all prepares us to lead. And I have good news. Righteousness is a powerful motivator. It will guide you. Doing the next right thing for the members will take you to success. You will move the ball down the field. Don't take no for an answer. When you're right, don't back down. No way, no how, never. Our members deserve nothing less. We're not in this business, this union business, to make friends. We're not here to make enemies, but those certainly come, especially when you speak truth to power, which, in some cases, that's our job. Get up and tell the truth when nobody wants to hear it. We're here to make the lives of our members better, so they can make the lives of their families better, and protect our communities better, to live up to our oath. That's what we do as a union. It's that simple. I didn't say it was easy, but it is simple. Kind of like putting the wet stuff on the red stuff. Simple, but not easy. Leading a union isn't easy. Take the presidential endorsement that we just did, the process that we just went through. Our board, your executive board, took unprecedented steps to engage our membership. We did focus groups, we did surveys, we provided education, we did town halls. And I know not everybody was happy with the executive board's decision. Remember, leading a union isn't easy. Sometimes it's bare knuckles. But I'm proud of the process that we ran. Our Constitution led us, and our DVPs stood up, took their own positions, and the majority ruled. And I'm proud of the work that this executive board did, and the right decision was made for this union. Our loyalty is to the mission. Our loyalty is to each other. Nothing else matters. Yesterday, I flew up to Washington, D.C., went to the White House, and flew back last night. I was there to represent professional firefighters, active, retired, and those coming on the job in the future. As the President of the United States signed the Social Security Fairness Act, and thank you to him for doing that. It's a long time coming, and believe me, I think they'll someday write a book about it. But the WEP GPO is on the books for 40 years. Generations of firefighters have been screwed by the WEP GPO. Dollars they contributed into the Social Security system were stolen. If this scheme had been perpetrated by any private or public company, they'd define it as embezzlement. As my partner, Pat Yos, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, who was a great partner with us in this. We had great partnerships with all the public employee unions getting this done. But let me tell you, it wouldn't have got done without us. Believe me. You can fool the fans in the stands, but not the players in the game. Everyone, by the way, that was our legislation. Everyone got on board, but we led that charge. And everyone, I mean everyone, said fixing this was going to be impossible. Politicians said it. Some of our own affiliates said it. Some of our own IAFF affiliates went on social media and said the WEP GPO is dead. I'll tell you what they did. They weakened us. And you know who you are. May you live forever. But guess what? The same resiliency we show on the fire ground and down the local union hall, we brought up to that big dome in Washington, D.C., the United States Capitol. We brought that mindset with us. The repeal is what was right. It's what was fair, and we demanded it, and we didn't take no for an answer, and it was history in the making. This is the most significant legislative victory in the history of the IAFF. I want to give you a couple facts about this bill that not many people would know, which make it truly historic. Since 1985, there's been north of 160,000 bills filed in the U.S. Congress. 160,000. The Social Security Fairness Act was the fourth to be passed into law and enacted through a discharge petition in the House. That's a big deal. That's historic. The cost to right this wrong was north of $200 billion. We had a lot of headwinds trying to get this done. That $200 billion price tag gives you a little idea how much our retirees, close your eyes and think of some old retired firefighter or their spouse, have been getting robbed. And we got it done. You know, Mark Sanders, not DVP Mark Sanders that I worked with, that's a strategic campaigner, was telling me his father, Dickie, Boston firefighter, he's 89 now, or turned 90. 88 years old. Just had a birthday, turned 88. Him and his wife, Franny, worked their whole lives, raised their children. One of them was a severe pain in the ass. The math that they're doing, and let me, I hope I'm not going overboard. Dickie at 87 was filling out job applications with strings, I hope I'm not going too far here, strings tied around his fingers as he was trying to work in a factory, filling out a job application, so the guy doing the hiring wouldn't see that his hands were all cramped up. The difference in that family, Dickie and Franny, is going to be about $800 a month. That's a life preserver. That is a big deal. The Social Security Fairness Act puts roughly $7 billion a year into the lives of retired firefighters or their survivors every year. Notice I didn't say IAFF members, and this is a pet peeve of mine. Most IAFF members get thrown out of the union. We throw them out of the IAFF when they retire, and that's a shame. You know, our job, we're all sitting in leadership positions right now, every single one of us. Doesn't matter what happened for the last 100 and something years that this union has been in business. Doesn't matter what's going to happen down the road. We are in leadership right now. Our job is to leave this union better than we found it for the next generation. Kids coming up behind us. I'm asking you to do what we've done, I don't know, some locals. I know in the 3rd District, most of us allow for active retired. You can stay in the union. The IAFF Constitution allows it. We have about 30,000 retirees. We should have about 500,000. We would be much, much stronger, you as a local, you as a state, provincial association, and all of us as the IAFF, if you change your local bylaws and allow them to come in. Call your DVP, email them. You know, there's a lot of fear with that. Nobody wants to disturb the political balance in their locals. I can tell you, it's coming out of a local that all the retirees are in, they're an asset. They help. They don't hurt. Just last night, I heard from a retired firefighter, IAFF member, by the way, Roger Tompkins. And I'm going to read a quote. He said, "I always had a second job and have worked part-time at a hospital since retirement. In about a year, I plan on collecting my Social Security benefit. Earlier tonight, that benefit increased by $500 plus a month, thanks to you and all of your staff's hard work. My union still working for me," end quote. And that's exactly what we do. We don't stop working for each other. But we should open up the doors and let those of us that dedicate their lives to being firefighters and allow them to stay in the union. If they don't want to stay, so what? But I bet you 90% of them want that union card. They want to be able to say that they're an IAFF member till their death. I know they do in my local. There's great stuff happening here at the IAFF. In Canada, the government funded over $12 million to establish a national framework for cancer linked to firefighting. Also, they got just shy of $2 million for responding to the interface money. That's good work getting done in the auditor office. Our comms shop, I don't know if you've been on the new website, but it's been revamped. We're firing on all cylinders. Our website traffic's up 180%. Our social media is way up. We had a digital media expert who monitors all of these, this traffic, probably for commercial, packaging. But he sent us an email and said, there's not a brand or a publisher that wouldn't kill for your numbers. Basically, what are you doing? We're also doing good work as emerging threats come our way. We chase grant money to see if we can make sure we're spun up on them, make sure we're ready for it. We have grant money coming in for training on lithium-ion battery fires, shipboard firefighting. We've been, for the first time, part of the National Transportation Safety Board's investigations so that they have our lens as firefighters and they can hear what our needs and concerns are in an event like that, whether it was a train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, or the ship fire in Newark. We now have a full-time position dedicated to making sure that this emerging threat of wildfire, that we're working our way into the infrastructure of the federal government's response, which traditionally we're on the outside looking in many places. We're tackling that. We're doing good things, and the proof is in the pudding, right? The value of the IAFF is clear as a bell. We've been trying to pass collective bargaining in the U.S. Congress for 50 years. We pivoted a few years ago. We've been fighting that battle at the local level now, and we're winning. Just last year, we had affiliates in Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, all secure collective bargaining rights. That's major steps forward. Good job, Blue. You know, I've been around the IAFF for a little while now, and I was kind of surprised by this. That's why I want to bring it up. Since I became general president, you know, a little less than 4 years ago, 3 years and 9 months, I think, over 31,000 new members have joined the IAFF. That boggled my mind. That's a lot of new members. Last year, we added 70 new locals, just shy of 10,000 new members. Great work by all of you. Listen, I want to close with this. Our moral compass at the IAFF is dialed in. Firefighters are taking notice of what we're doing in the fights we're taking on. This IAFF is the most respected union in North America, all because of you. When people need help, firefighters are coming. When firefighters need help, the IAFF is coming. Be you, be strong, be firefighters. God bless New Orleans, and God bless America and Canada. All right, thank you, everybody. Now I'd like to bring up my partner, who's, I like to say, he's an LA boy from Hollywood, and he's the hardest working man in show business. He's up, I call him sometimes, I wake up in the morning and go, oh, I forgot to tell Frankie that. And I call him at 7 in the morning, which in many cases is on the West Coast. 4 a.m., first ring, Frankie. Not saying, what are you doing calling me at 4 in the morning? Just like, what's up, Edzo? What are you doing? Like, nothing. What are you doing at 4 in the morning, waiting for me to call? But he's done an incredible job for us. He works his ass off. I'm proud to call him my partner. Thanks, Frankie, for everything you do.
Thank you. Great job, bro. Thanks, bro. Great job. Thank you, General President. Let's give one more round of applause for our GP Kelly right here. Thanks for all your hard work. Thanks for going to Washington yesterday for all of us. Thanks for all you do. Couldn't have a better partner up here. I'm just going to quickly touch, very briefly. It's always hard to follow the GP. Man, I wish I would have went first. But accomplishments. When we took office, we had a lot of adversity. We had a lot of dark cloud over our pension system. We had IRS, subpoenas, a lot of just negative type issues. But the accomplishments that we've built are going to be touched on real quick. We've brought in major oversight, brought accountability and checks and balances. And what is that? That's the ability to have hard conversations with, like Ed said, with the people you love, the board members you are elected to serve with. And our assets
have climbed tremendously. Our assets are up while our liabilities are going down. Our reserve fund, I'll give you one example of a number that's pretty impressive. In nearly 4 years, we didn't raise any dues in regards to reserve funds, but through our oversight, through our prudence, through our passing balanced budgets every year, through our executive board education on what they're voting on and understanding, we've taken our reserve account from $4 million to nearly $19 million and created a Canadian Canadian reserve account. That's impressive. That's numbers you can't argue right there. In regards to pension saving, we also have created a pension savings account. And we did the first ever pension reform at the IAFF and didn't create a new tier to whack the legs off of future hires, not even close. We reset a lot of things that have been, given away without actuarial advice and things like that, to the tune of $75 million of savings over the next 25 to 35 years. We've enhanced and made bigger our board of trustees for our pension plans from 3 to 6. So we've increased the eyes looking at things. We've created a long overdue procurement policy. And what's that mean? That means requests for proposals have gone out for everything. From the flags we buy at the memorials from $700 to down near $200, $300 is putting things out there, whether they're friends of this IAFF or not. The days of hiring contractors that are buddies of principal officers or staff or whatever are long over and begone, are in the rearview mirror. We're making sure your money goes a long way. Our bonding program, for example, you always look for waste, fraud, abuse, at all times. It's like a constant thing, and you should at your local. For example, our bonding program, we've enhanced that. But there was, say we had local 1, 2, and 3 amalgamate into local 4. Well, we were still paying invoices on locals that didn't exist. So we've just cleaned so many things up. We had 8 years of audits that were negative rating, disclaiming papers. And to the tune of what we've done, we've had the last 3 years of audits, which are essentially A-rated audits with top-rated audits. No material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, and that's something that we all got to be proud of. Our fiduciary responsibility, I want to just say this, is everybody that takes an oath to be an IAFF leader is a fiduciary. Everybody. The old saying of, I didn't know. I was too busy to overlook at the finances. I had sloppy record keeping. My bad. No excuses anymore. Not on our watch. As we've cleaned up 1750 New York Avenue and our Canadian, headquarters in Canada, as we've cleaned this up, and you have tangible proof and evidence, and the numbers speak for themselves, our pivot is going to be helping this field more. There are embezzlements that come in, there are misappropriation of funds, and we're going to be helping these locals. The local union financial audit reports. We went from 3% compliance, where our Constitution says you shall, every local within 180 days of the close of their fiscal year, shall turn in these audit reforms to the IAFF. We were at 3% compliance. We are now over about 53% compliance, and that has been very good. Quick show of hands to our U.S. Members in here. Who knows what an EIN or a 990 is and the compliance with that? Okay, good, but very small. And if you don't know, just look into that. We have a lot of classes. These are the things that could come back and bite you with the IRS and have your dues tax and things like that. We're given sample financial policies that we've created. Theft and fraud, I want to talk about. It's there. It's serious stuff. Department of Labor has guidelines that you can't say, I didn't know. What's the financial policy of your union? Some of them say, well, we don't have a financial policy. You know what the financial policy is that I go by? Is that when I spend my credit card, when we sign an invoice at the IAFF, and by the way, this executive board has seen more invoices in the last 4 years than probably the last 20 years, thanks to the transparency that we're bringing. But the financial policy that I like to use is, can I put my credit card statement and receipt on a kitchen table in Boston, Massachusetts, in Oahu, Hawaii, in Washington, in Miami, or in Toronto, and let those members that pay the freight, can I justify it in front of them? And if you can, then you're doing it right. As we close up, we're at a training leadership symposium. You know, it's your job here. You came here like as delegates. Your members send you to learn this information, how to better run your local, how to better administer your local, how to better protect the finances of your local, how to better negotiate. There's 150-something classes that are here. It's everything that you could do. And it's your job to mentor. And you need to really take this back. And I really take it serious as a father of an IAFF member now, from the rookie to our union leaders. You have an obligation to teach. You have an obligation to teach how to be safe when you're in the firehouse, and train, because they're perishable skills that we have in the fire ground. And you have an obligation to train and teach the union history, because they're perishable skills and we need to know where we came from. So I wrap it up, you know, one thing that burns me up, like our GP had a pet peeve he shared, and I have a pet peeve, and that's when people go, wow, look at our paycheck, or look at what the city got for us. Look at what the county got for us. And my thing back to that is, don't thank the city, you thank your union. You want collective bargaining rights and you've earned them, you thank your union. You want dignity and respect on the job because they're not going to give it to you, you thank your union. You want pension that dignifies your work that you put in, you want a Social Security Act reform done, you thank your union. So it's time to unite, fight, organize, and thanks for all you do. Now I'd like to welcome back to the stage my brother GP Kelly to kick off the General's Excellence Awards.
Awesome job. Great job, Frankie. Thank you so much. And it's testimony to the work that this executive board's done, how we've gotten this union back on track. So listen, I want to first off welcome some of our award recipients to the stage here, starting with Sean Hill. Sean is the president of Burnsville Local 2910. Sean has consistently demonstrated exceptional leadership and dedication to the IAFF.
Right there.
His commitment to our organization was particularly evident during the tragic loss of Brother Adam Finseth and 2 Burnsville police officers on February 18th, 2024. Sean provided unwavering support and guided the Finseth family through that grief. His tireless efforts ensured that the 3 fallen heroes received the honor and respect and benefits they deserved. Sean has been instrumental in expanding the labor movement in Minnesota. Under his guidance, Burnsville Local 2910 has successfully added the full-time firefighters of the Savage Fire Department as an affiliate of his local. He's been actively working to bring the full-time firefighters with both the Shakopee and Lakeville Fire Departments into their local as well. Please help me congratulate and honor and award the General's Award for Leadership to Sean Hill. Sean, congratulations, brother. Thanks for what you do, man. Good job. Yeah, step this way, everybody, so that's behind us.
Congratulations, Sean. Oh, I got it. Okay, next up, we got Amanda Newhall, president of the Healdsburg, California Firefighters Local 2604, and someone who's become a good friend of mine under difficult times. A 10-member local. She discovered a major embezzlement on the part of a long-term president who then resigned and left the fire department. At that point, she took control of the local. She reached out to the GST's team, to the IAFF, to our District 10 team for guidance and assistance. Amanda then ran point on reviewing the local's finances, discovering that nearly $50,000 was stolen. And at a 10-member local, that's about $5,000 per person. You add those numbers up at your local, how much would that come up to? Under Sister Newhall's leadership, the local filed a claim with our bonding insurance agency and pushed hard to get additional reimbursement from the safety net underwriter from our insurance. She also navigated a repayment agreement with the old president who was the thief. Amanda made sure that her members were kept informed of the progress of the case. This was instrumental to keeping the local together, to keep that trust going. Her communication skills were also crucial to rebuilding the trust of the members, as she not only returned the strength of Local 2604, but turned them into a success story on numerous fronts, like helping to pass a large countywide tax measure to improve fire service delivery in Sonoma County, and she also affiliated the local with the North Bay Labor Council, the AFL-CIO. Let's congratulate Sister Amanda Newhall.
All right, Amanda. Congratulations. Great job. Great job. Awesome job.
Congratulations.
Good job, Amanda.
I got this one and you got 4. All right, next up, it's an honor. Somebody I've known for 20 years. And as a district vice president, he was one of my first appointees as a district field service representative. We got Floyd Rollins, president of Local 798 of the San Francisco Firefighters, a local, big history. His leadership on PFAS legislation and retirement reform demonstrates his unwavering commitment to the well-being of the members he serves and his ability to effect meaningful change. He led the way for PFAS-free PPE, protecting the health and safety of his members. He helped pass a retirement ballot measure recently that lowered the retirement age for firefighters, which is a historic accomplishment. President Rollins is not only an effective policymaker, but he's also an inspiring leader who fosters collaboration and brings diverse stakeholders together to achieve these shared goals. Let's congratulate our good friend, my brother, Floyd Rollins.
All right, Floyd. Good job, brother. Good job. Well earned.
No, I love it.
All right, thanks, brother. Good job, man. Congratulations.
You're
well earned.
awesome. Good job, Floyd.
All right, up next we have Joe Triff, Vice President of Local 268, a leading voice in advocating for critical changes at the Nova Scotia Firefighters School following the tragic death of Skylar Blackie, a member of Truro Local 1627. He exposed the negligent leadership and toxic culture at the school that contributed to Skylar's death. When the school refused to change its culture, Joe took the fight on to shut the school down. Joe is also the vice president of the Atlantic Professional Firefighters Association, Atlantic Provinces Professional Firefighters Association, representing Nova Scotia. Please help me congratulate my friend Joe Triff. Joe.
Congratulations, Joe. Get out there.
Joey. Good job, brother.
There you go. Get right. There you go. Got it? Perfect. Oh, we're going to get all 4 of them?
I'm going to take a picture. Group picture. I think we need to step in a little.
Right. We getting on the edges? Here we go. Get on this.
Yeah, everyone get on the same.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your leadership. Keep up the good work. Now I'd like everyone to give a very warm, special welcome to the Alconis family. Ridge Alconis is a former naval officer who was wrongfully imprisoned in Japan. He's also the son of retired Local 1014 member Derek Alconis. His dad, Derek, created and helped implement the Fireground Survival Program, a great leader within the IAFF. Ridge is here with his wife, Brittany, and their 3 children. I'd ask the Alconis family to please rise. Where are you guys? Where are you guys? Ridge, thank you for your service. You're a great American. Welcome home, brother. You're always welcome with us at the IAFF. All right, please give your attention to the video screens for a short video.
Patrick J. Morrison has served his family, his community, and his brother and sister firefighters for all his adult life, creating positive change in the lives of others at every opportunity. He has proudly served in leadership roles at IAFF headquarters for more than 2 decades and has had a hand in nearly every advancement made during that time. Pat's commitment to the IAFF and its members began long before he took on an official leadership role. Pat joined Fairfax County Fire and Rescue, becoming a member of IAFF Local 2068, where he would eventually serve as the local's secretary-treasurer. Assigned to Station 29 in Fairfax County, Pat was exposed to a wide range of calls, from delivering a baby on the apron of the station to responding to structure fires in areas without hydrants and horrific MVAs. Pat's experience shaped him into a resilient and compassionate firefighter. Pat's spirit, faith, and his fierce determination to fight for others extended to the political arena. In a right-to-work state, Morrison saw the growth of Fairfax County's department, not only in terms of size, but also staffing, when winning a change from 3 to 4 firefighters per rig. As a lieutenant, Morrison also championed the Wellness Fitness Initiative, WFI.
We need to have the flexibility and we need to have the endurance for the firefighters to do their job.
Today, the county's Public Safety Health Center is dedicated in Pat's honor. In the early years of the WFI, behavioral health was often overlooked. However, the events of 9/11 would solidify his commitment to this cause. The terrorist attacks took the lives of 343 IAFF members and sent shockwaves through the fire service. Pat was dispatched to New York to coordinate acute behavioral care. It quickly became clear that helping those affected by trauma was not a one-time effort. This experience, along with others, led Pat to join the IAFF headquarters, where his work became foundational in shaping how the IAFF responds to major events like Hurricane Katrina and other large-scale tragedies. His efforts helped to launch and train peer counselors and the IAFF Center for Excellence, institutions that continue to support IAFF members to this day. Morrison's efforts to address 2 critical health and safety issues, the stigma surrounding PTSD, and the overwhelming causes of firefighter cancer, contributed to a cultural shift in how these issues are handled today. Pat, a cancer survivor, shares by example both his hope and humility. Today, Pat Morrison remains a figure who often works behind the scenes, quietly building consensus among leaders in both labor and management. We celebrate Pat Morrison for his dedication to improving the lives of firefighters. His work to advance health and safety and his unwavering commitment to his union are a true inspiration of leadership. He will be missed at headquarters, but will never be far away. Pat embodies all that is noble about firefighting, public service, and the IAFF.
Okay, I lied. The video wasn't that short. But it's a testimony to somebody who dedicated their entire lives, adult lives, or rebirth, to protecting firefighters. And I've been lucky, blessed, to have Pat Morrison as a mentor of mine, you know, from long before me coming down here to coming down to the IAFF and working in D.C. But even before I took office, Pat took me out with Annie, walked me around Georgetown, just gave me advice. You know, Pat's been a sage mentor at pretty much, you know, all my critical crossroads in my tenure at the IAFF, which, in case you've had your head up your ass, hasn't been the most smooth 7 years and 9 months. But Pat has a way about him of having a genuine care for others that helps disarm everyone he's trying to help. He knows, anyone that's dealing with Pat knows that Pat has the purest of intentions in everything that he's doing. And his track record is second to none in the IAFF. He's been a trailblazer when we needed it, in places people were afraid to go. He's put himself up there, no matter what was ever asked of him. He's taking even after he got sick, he came right back to work. He knew he had more to give. And deservedly so, he's kind of retiring. Well, we don't have to pay him anymore. Because I keep saying, Pat, can you still do that? And he goes, yeah, all right, I'll do that. Sorry, Annie. Actually, you're welcome, Annie. So listen, I'd like to bring up a great historic presence in the IAFF, Pat Morrison, our Chief of Field Services for the next 3 weeks or whatever it's going to be. Come on up, Pat.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And boy, you really know how old you are after you see a video like that, you know. So it goes back many, many years. I really want to thank. I had the opportunity to thank some people. I really want to do that. I do want to thank the General President Ed Kelly and General Secretary Treasurer Frank Lima for their leadership. And what has happened. I've been at the IAFF for a long time, and I just have never seen something in an operation that's moving forward in directions that I never thought could happen. But it happens because these two have persevered, they've gone through a lot, and they're making some changes, and they are significant changes for our union, and I really, really appreciate that. I really want to thank the Executive Board. I mean, the Executive Board and all the people that have really helped me through my life. With all the great union leadership that's in this room, like what the General President said, from the smallest local to the largest locals. There is so much here that I learned from. I have so many mentors here in this room, so many people that have given me the right guidance and led me to doing what I was able to do. I really do appreciate that. I really want to thank really my coworkers. You know, you don't get a chance to see them. They're at headquarters both in Canada and the US. And these are people that had to put up with me for 22 years. And if I owe you any emails or anything else, that's the first thing I'll do in retirement. Not. But I do. I want to thank that. In 1989 was my first convention for the IAFF. It was here in New Orleans. It was at the Redmond Symposium. I was sitting where you're sitting, in a chair, listening to change that could take place. And I listened and I realized that the union was the place that we could make a difference. We could go back, because it really is not about us. It's not about the general president, it's not about the general secretary, treasurer, or any of us. It's about those members that we serve. It's about those 350,000 members that we have to remember. Our mission statement hasn't changed since we've charted from 1918. It's amazing. Go back and read it. It's the same mission that we have to do that. The last thing I'd like to do is really thank my family. My wife, Annie, my daughter, Megan. Some of you might know she does work here at the IAFF. We had to have one Morrison that could work at the IAFF, you know, to represent us. And my other daughter, she's not here, Katie, and my son, Eddie. I want to really thank not only my wife that has been with me for 45 plus years, but I want to thank all the spouses in this room here. I want to thank all the significant others, all the kids, all the children. You allow us, you take care of our kids when they're sick because we're doing a job or we're on a trip, or we're missing a birthday, or we're missing a vacation, or we're missing sporting events. You're the ones that do that, that allow us the privilege to work for this great union. Without the spouses, without that support behind us, we are empty and we are not fulfilled. So I really want to thank you all for doing that. And with that, I was saying I'm blessed. I truly am blessed to have the career that I have. But I'm really, really thankful to see the young faces in this room, the next champions, the next people that can start a program, because that's how it all happens. It's amazing. Sometimes it's just two firefighters talking, can we make something better? Aaron said it well. You take this and we try to make it better, and that's what this union has done over and over and over again. So we will make it better together, and thank you, thank you, thank you.
Not so fast. I'd now like to welcome Annie and Megan up to the stage. Oh, Megan. Thank you so much. Annie. We have a little gift for you guys for putting up with all our stuff all these years. Except you, Megan, you're part of the stuff. You know? Oh, we better step into the sunlight.
More.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, absolutely. Well deserved. Thank you.
It was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Don't be late tomorrow. Brothers and sisters, we now have a very special guest to the IAFF. Please welcome to the stage someone who's inspired millions of people. Tony Horton is a fitness icon, a celebrity trainer, a comedian, and an accomplished author. Tony's a motivational speaker, recipient of both the Jack LaLanne Award and the Chevalier Jackson Healthcare Innovator Medal, and a wildly popular creator of the most successful fitness program in America, P90X. Please welcome Tony Horton. Tony, come on up. Here we go. Where is he? Here we go.
Hello, everybody. Hello. How you doing, man? You good? How you doing? How are you, too? Nice to meet you. All right, all right, all right.
I was wondering if you showed up. Good to see you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
My pleasure. My
From
pleasure.
Little Rhodey, right?
Rhode Island,
Right on,
Westerly,
baby.
born and raised.
Right on.
Thank you, sir. Hello, everybody. How we doing? How are we doing? Good, good, good. So, first of all, I just want to say it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. I kind of can't believe it. I've kind of goosebumps just looking out at all you men and women who protect not only my family, but the people all around this country and Canada. It's a big deal. I know you don't like to call yourselves heroes. Well, you're effing heroes, sorry. That's just who you are, at least in my world. I live in Southern California, and we have a fire about every 45 minutes in my neighborhood. So, you know, because it doesn't rain, and we live in the woods, and we've been evacuated a bunch of times, and so my wife and I got a close affiliation with Station 19 on Sunset Boulevard, also 69. And I've built a lot of pegboards for fire stations in Southern California, so I don't know if the firefighters there like that or not, but it's fun to watch them try. Today what I want to try to do is I want to share kind of what I know about being a little bit better than yesterday. All right, so I'm 66 years old, and I don't know what that's supposed to feel like, but it feels a whole lot better than 26 or 36 or 46 or 56. And a lot of it has to do with a lot of the things that I've learned along the way from when I was a wee lad, born in Rhode Island in 1958, only 13 years after World War II. And so I know there's a lot of stress. Raise your hand if you deal with stress. All your hands should be going up in the air, because if it isn't, then you can leave. You don't have to even live. I got no stress. To hell with this guy. I'm going to go grab a coffee. So there's different components to feeling good, all right, and being healthy, and being flexible, and being strong, and working on your balance. And you know, when I started out, you know, when I was a little kid, my father was a tank commander, and he was also a AAA ball player. My father was one of these guys that he would either strike you out or knock you out. That was my dad. He was a tank commander. He was the son of a bitch. He was just a tough guy, right? And we moved around a lot when I was a little guy, and 6 times before 5th grade. And I had a speech impediment called cluttering. And cluttering isn't really stammering or stuttering. It's just throwing so many words together so fast that it was really hard to get a sentence out. So when you move a lot and you got new neighborhoods and new teachers and new schools, you become a target. And I was a little guy and I wasn't athletic. My father was a 3-sport captain, football, basketball, baseball. But he kind of left me alone. He didn't like the process growing up in the 50s. And he was on the road a lot, my dad, right? He worked that way. So, you know, that was kind of my start, not a great one. Then finally, I got to college. I took a weightlifting course. And in college, I majored in beer and a little bit of weed, because it was the 70s, and that's what we did. So I had a GPA of, I'm not going to tell you, but it's weird. When I took that weightlifting course, my GPA went up. My attention span improved. I didn't want to party as much. For some reason, I didn't know it at the time, and I learned this when I read John Rady's book, Spark, The Effects of Physical Activity on the Brain. Now, I was working out. I took the weightlifting course because I thought it was going to be an easy A, but at the same time, I wanted more of this, and I wanted more of these. You can just gawk for a second if you like. It's mostly for the gals. Anyway, not the dudes so much. But it turns out, you know, you needed a personality, you know, and a life. So that was didn't achieve what I wanted to back in then. But the interesting thing was that physical activity released norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, and something called brain-derived neurotropic factor. Now, if anybody in here has the hippocampus, which you all do, and inside your hippocampus is a dentate gyrus. It's this little tiny thing inside the center of your brain that when you move your ass and your legs and your arms and everything else, you release those drugs into your brain, which improves the quality of who you are, it improves your sleep, it improves your balance and your flexibility and your outlook and your sex drive, too. Who wants an improved sex drive? Anyone? Okay. No arms? Oh, uh-oh. I worry for all of you. Anyway, after college, there's my timer. I have 40 minutes. You think I can do it? I'm going to try. I went out to California, and I wanted to find my fame and fortune. I wanted to be a cross between Jim Carrey and Brad Pitt, and I ended up on the Santa Monica Pier doing mime for money. So there was a lot of that, a lot of walking in the wind, that kind of a thing. And so, that's how it was, because I was just a young, ambitious kid. I was a plumber, and I was a handyman, and I built furniture. I worked at Chippendales for a short time, kind of getting sexy with it up there, and anything to make a buck. And at that point, I was trying to become an actor. I got myself an agent. And my agent looked at me and went, "You're skinny and you're pudgy at the same time. You'll never work in this town looking like that." So I was like, damn. So I joined the local gym, and unlike where I grew up in Rhode Island, the gyms were small and rusty and dirty, and there was nothing really that great about them. But out in California, like 35 treadmills, ellipticals, weight rack, stretching. There was aerobics classes. What is that? And I look in there and I go, it's all women. Can guys go in there? And they go, sure. Hi. It was a lot of, that's wow. Nice to see you. Anyway, so I was just experimenting. I was on the track running. I was in the cardio classes. I was doing free weights. I was doing anything I could because it was a community. It was a community of like-minded people who cared about their health and their wellness. And I didn't realize at the time, I just, that it was changing my cognition and my mood and the way I felt about who I was as a young wannabe actor out in California. And so eventually, between the Chippendales and the building furniture and the handyman stuff, I finally got a real job, and I became a PA, a production assistant over at 20th Century Fox. And they made movies over there, and I was working for a guy by the name of Harlan Goodman. Now, Harlan used to be in the music industry, but he thought he'd, give it a try to make movies. And so when he hired me, I was skinny and pudgy. About 3 months into the working for him over there at Fox, he noticed my physical changes. And he had a weight issue, Harlan did at that time. And he said, oh my God, dude, what in the course of no time at all, you went from skinny, pudgy guy to kind of a fit, ripped, lean guy. Can you do that for me? And I said, sure. I had no idea what I was doing. Wasn't certified, I was completely clueless, but I thought I needed the extra money. So my boss and I went to our friend's garage and we started lifting weights, and of course about 3 months later, he had lost 40 pounds. And he felt infinitely better. And it turned out that Harlan couldn't make a movie to save his life. So he went back to the music industry. And so I was like, okay, if you're not going to do that, I don't have a job anymore, so I'm back to doing mime on the pier and building furniture and whatever I could. And unbeknownst to me, when Harlan was walking down the hallway of East End Management on Sunset Boulevard, there was Tom Petty walking the other direction down the hallway. And there was Tom. Saw Harlan, he goes, holy crap, Harlan, you look fantastic. This is my Tom Petty, by the way, thank you very much. And he said, I'm going on tour and I'm fat. Nobody likes a fat rocker. So Harlan said, well, call Tony Horton. Who's this Tony Horton fella? Now, I was nobody. I didn't know what I was doing. And all of a sudden, I got Tom Petty calling my little tiny apartment in Santa Monica. And my roommate, Bob, picks up the phone. Hello? Hi, it's Tom Petty. I'm looking for Tony Horton. Bob would go, dude, this guy's downstairs fucking around. Can't be. It can't be Tom Petty. I go, hang up. Click. So Bob hangs up on Tom Petty. Minutes later, the phone rings again. Ring. Hello? Hi, I think we got disconnected. Bob goes, dude, it's a really good Petty impression. Give me the phone. Hello? Hi, I'm friends of Harlan Goodman, and I'm fat. And I'm going on tour, and nobody likes a fat rocker. So I'm like, Bob, it's Tom Petty. I hung up the phone, drove to Woodland Hills the next day. I go to this driveway, gate opens up, trees, long driveway. You know those houses with the long driveways? God. And I pull up, all glass, platinum gold records. There's Tom with a cigarette. Hey, I'm Tom Petty, I'm fat. And I'm going on tour. So I had 4 months with Tom. Now, he was already an ectomorph. Everybody know the difference between an ectomorph, a mesomorph, and an endomorph? Ectomorph are skinny, lean people, sons of bitches. You know what I mean? They're just kind of born that way. That's just who they are. And there's mesomorphs, linebackers, like Danny back there, who I was just talking to, like 16 feet tall. He's all muscle. He's scary and big. And then there's endomorphs, people who are naturally big, like sumo wrestlers, that kind of thing. All right, so I got Tom. I had him for 4 months. I handed him a couple of 12-pound dumbbells. He's on the bench press. I go, okay, Tom, here's what we're going to do. We're going to press him up, and I hand him the dumbbells, and his arms go, shit, I'm going to kill Tom Petty. But 4 months later, he's hitting the heavy bag, he's gaining muscle, he's getting lean, and because he was an ectomorph, he got yoked. He got striated and vascular, his voice improved, his energy was up, it was a completely different ball game. He goes off on tour. Before he did, he started cutting all the sleeves off his shirts because he just wanted to, you know, right? And he was wearing just a vest without shirts. It's like, what the hell happened to Tom Petty? So the tour was amazing, and whatever, I went back to doing mime on the pier and whatever it was, and then shortly after the tour, this fella, Billy Idol, called me. Right, mate, fucking hell, man. What did you do to Tom Petty? He looks fantastic. What do you think of my Billy Idol? Pretty good? Pretty good? Did I nail it? You wouldn't know. You never met him. So then I met, he's known as the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Anyone? And then I had Shirley MacLaine and Sean Connery and Stephen Stills from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, and Stevie Nicks. Couldn't help her. Couldn't help her, man. Quick story, I go to Stevie's house, I'd wait 45 minutes, and then one of her 15 boys that worked for her, she's ready, and I go up to the bedroom, and she'd be in the bed. And the sheets and the dress and whatever she was wearing all were mixed together, and we would have 3-pound dumbbells, we'd do some flies, some curls. Tony, I'm exhausted, thanks a lot, and I'd leave. That would be it. So the cool thing was there was a period of my life, so here's a guy who didn't really know what he was doing, then I had to get certified, but on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for a short time, I'd get up and I'd train Billy, and then I go to Tom Petty's house, and then I go to Annie Lennox's house from the Eurythmics, and then I go to Stephen Stills, couldn't help him either, and then I finish it with Bruce. So I was basically keeping rock and roll from the 60s and 70s alive. You're welcome. Thank you. Now there's a few things that I've learned. And then by the way, I made P90X, and we sold 20 million of those, which is pretty cool. I got very, very lucky. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It was one of those things where we did something called Power 90 initially, and Power 90 had a certain success. Anybody know what Power 90 is? Raise your hand. We sold like 30 of those. And we sold like 3 million, which wasn't too bad, really, because infomercials are hard to do, and usually they fail, but we thought we'd give people the real thing. You know, none of these, and none of these. We said we're going to get on the ground, we're going to do push-ups, we're going to do pull-ups, we're going to squat, we're going to lunge, and we're going to make you do it 5 days a week. And if you want to do that, if you want to commit to that, if you want to change your body, if you want to transform, great. And then we said, what should we do next? We should make that easier. No, we made it harder. P90X, 6 days a week. The yoga, an hour and a half. What am I, an asshole? That was cruel. But I did what I knew worked for me, what changed for me. Because, I don't like exercise. I love to procrastinate. I am basically super lazy. That's just kind of genetically who I am, right? But I know the difference between genetics and epigenetics. You know the difference between those two things? Genetics are, your parents had sex. They made you. That's who you are. And if you behave like them, you'll end up like them. That's just it. Epigenetics is you somewhere along the way making a decision to change your behavior and your environment. And if you change your behavior and environment, even though it's going to be hard, and even though it's going to require discipline, and even though you're going to have to find a community of other people that want to do it with you, then the last 20, 30 years of your life are going to suck. Who wants that? Nobody. So, why I'm here is to kind of share with you what I've learned in 35 years of fitness so that you could make massive, massive change in your life, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally, if you just follow the formula, right? The more you do, the better you get. The less you do, the harder it's going to be. That's what I've learned. So the main goal here is, what can I do physically that'll affect my mental and emotional state so that I can get a little bit better the next day? So I'm going to do a little something that's going to change your state right now. Two things. One's going to require you all to stand up. Before you do, though, check in right now with kind of how you feel. Maybe you're tired. Maybe you're jet lagged. Maybe you're hungover. I saw a lot of you boys in the bar last night. Some of you are hungover. Probably, right? I know my two. I'm excited and I'm a little bit nervous. Those are the two feelings. So if you got a word or two in your head, all right? So now I'm going to change that slightly. Everybody stand up. Stand up. Now, if you can't stand up, I understand. That's perfectly fine. But if you're in a situation where you can, then do it. You don't have a whole lot of room. So now all I want you to do is start to jump up and down, just like this. Little bit. Come on. Don't be afraid. All right? So, as we're jumping up and down, feel the energy change? It's changing right now because I can tell. Now, when I point to everybody over here, you're going to yell, let's! And you're going to yell, go! Keep going. Here we go. All right, keep hopping. We're going to count down from 10. Here we go. 10, 9, let me hear it. What? Louder. Come on. So good. A little bit louder. Yeah. Oh. Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. Who feels differently? Right? So last night, I'm in my room. I had a long flight from LA to here, New Orleans. And I was pent up because I was a little bit nervous. I mean, you know, you guys are first responders, firefighters, badass. And, you know, I was talking to Danny back there. He goes, hey, man, you can ask anybody in this room, and we're just normal guys. No. I'm a normal guy. You've made a commitment to communities around the country and Canada to fix what's going on in any situation. Now, I've been lucky. I've been to 63 military bases around the country, through the Pentagon, through AFE, Armed Forces Entertainment. And it's been a heck of a ride. I've thrown up 7 times in an F-15C. That was fun. Threw up 3 times in a Thunderbird. And then the Blue Angels called, and I went, no, not going. I ain't going. Jumped out of a Chinook at 15,000 feet over Hawaii. That was cool. That was cool. So, and I just love being able to go around the country and say, hey, look, man, just make these little tiny changes. You don't have to, you know, swing for the fence. Just do these few things, and your life is going to change dramatically. And already out in the hallway, a lot of guys have come to me and said, hey, thank you for what you've done for me. And I want, and for some, who doesn't know who the hell I am? Raise your hand. Okay. 5 of you, fine. Should we move on? I got 27 minutes. Should we go? All right. Oh, wait a minute. It's going to be me that's going to do that. All right. Fitness. What a shock. That's the first. You thought I was going to talk about baking cakes or flying a kite or how to get cats out of a tree. No, it's all about fitness. It's a physical, mental, and emotional thing that happens every time you move. Now, raise your hand if you exercise 4 to 5 to 6 times a week. I want to see arms in the air. Yeah, awesome. Right? So you're already in the game. You know the deal. All right? It's everything. I mean, without fitness, I don't know where I'd be. I'd be in a yurt down by the lake. You know what I mean? I'd be in a van down by the river. I would not be the person I forgot to do that. Okay. So, other than the fact that there's going to be aesthetic change over the course of time, you're going to get leaner, you're going to get stronger, you're going to be more flexible. Obviously, there's the mental and emotional. But here's all the things that happen like just now, when you all jumped up and down, these things started to happen for you. Now, obviously, you're going to need to do more than a minute, right, out there whenever you're doing your thing. But there's stress reduction and mood improvement, increased energy levels, better sleep quality, boost self-esteem, cognitive function, anxiety reduction, improved coping mechanisms, sense of accomplishment, healthy appetite. Do you know that when you exercise regularly, you don't want to eat shit food anymore? It's just physiological. It's part of how your brain wants to sort of make better food choices. It's kind of amazing, the science behind that. Better focus, improved body image. The list goes on and on and on. And it's not just about this or these. Well, maybe a little, all right? So, one thing I learned when I created P90, X-Power 90, what I do now, like I have a Sunday group, and we work out for about 4 hours, not consistent enough for the whole 4 hours, but we usually have 15 exercises that we do, and everybody there that I'm with is younger than I am, because when you're 66, Usually everybody's younger than you, right? And so we climb ropes. Like one of the exercises, we climb 2 double 20-foot ropes, and we do maximum pull-ups on the bar. And then we come down in an L, legs out. Butt has to hit the ground first. So the record is up, 20 pull-ups, down. I wonder who holds that record. So it's super fun when you figure this stuff out and you know how long the journey is going to be and you're okay with that and you don't judge the journey. You just keep showing up. It's really amazing what the body can do because based on who you are and what you do for a living, you need to be ready for anything and everything because everything you're about to get into is unpredictable. So climbing that 20-foot rope and getting up there, I should have probably, last time I did that, I almost fell because 20 pull-ups was too many. But what I learned when I created P90X is you've got to work on your weaknesses as much or more than your strengths. So there's a lot of people who are still exercising on a regular basis, and they're still doing weight training and cardio. That's all they do. And Jack LaLanne figured that out in the 1930s. But you need to work on your speed, your balance, and your range of motion as much as your strength and your cardiovascular endurance, period. Anybody know somebody who's older and they fell off the curb and they broke their hip and they were in the ICU and 2 weeks later you were at their funeral? That happens day after day after day because they didn't learn how to go, ta-da, right? Just something simple. Balance is huge. Like I read an article that said 80% of Americans over the age of 30 will never run fast again, like as fast as they could. Raise your hand the last time you ran as fast as you could. You just, right? Who has not run fast in decades? Seems scary, right? Well, partly because both your hamstrings will explode. You know what I mean? Like how many guys in a softball league, boom, oh God, never even get to first base, right? Training the body to do things where you're outside of your comfort zone, working on your weaknesses. You got weight training, you got speed work. My buddies and I will do a plyometric workout, which is about an hour, and then we'll run up my hill, which is about 130 meters, 8 to 15 times, just because. Right? Just because it's good for me. Balance, I get that from yoga, working on flexibility, mobility, calisthenics, strength and power, body weight, cardiovascular. Who likes to dance, man? Dance is it's just fun to do in general by yourself. Maybe you got a top hat on. Who knows what you're doing? All right? Plyometrics, which is huge. You don't have to do box jumping, but every Wednesday night, I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. As deep as I can go and as high as I can go at 66 years old. Aging is for idiots. Or aging, you could put that on a t-shirt. Or you could put aging is for people who aren't willing to put the time and effort into slowing it down. Who wants to slow their aging process down and be able to live large, feel good, look good till their 90s or 100s? Everybody wants that. All right? This is the formula. And so for me, Monday is cardio. 9 stations. Slide board, heavy bag, stationary bike, rower, jump rope, ski, and then I do my hill sprints. Tuesdays is shoulders and arms, old school. Pressing, flying, curls, extensions. Wednesday is the plyo, which I was saying. A lot more of this, right? We turn around, boom. Stuff that young people can do. If you keep doing things that young people can do, guess what? You stay young. And by the way, when you first start doing this stuff, you think, this guy sucks. This stuff is hard. Of course it's hard. If it's hard, it's working. If it's easy, it's probably not working so well. All right? So Thursdays, chest and back. A lot of push-ups, bench pressing, a lot of pull-ups, a lot of lat pulls. Old school. Friday is yoga. It's always yoga, because I understand that yoga is the fountain of youth. Period. Who has a regular yoga practice? Raise your hand. Raise your arm up. Regular. Raise your arm if you've never done yoga a day in your life. Ever. Like, that is silly. P90X, it's an hour and a half, because I'm cruel. But I understand it doesn't have to be an hour and a half. It could be a half hour. It could be 20 minutes. Yoga is balance. Who wants balance? Raise your hand. Better balance. Who wants strength? You get strength for every chaturanga you do, right? You've got range of motion, flexibility, and you also have mindfulness, which is that mental and emotional state that you put yourself in. Anybody who does any kind of yoga, when you're done, you've combined the physical, the mental, and the emotional in your bare feet on the floor, body weight, gravity. And by the way, I hate it. Hate it. This is me when I started yoga. Okay. That's nice. That's good. Maybe we'll hang up on her. All right. Oh my God, I don't want to do this because I feel so stiff and sore from chest and back the other day. I can't believe I'm here. Okay, here we go. Inhale. Oh, exhale, hang all the way down. Hands on the ground, step back. Chaturanga, upward dog, push up. Downward dog, right leg in the air, swing it through. Oh my God, this sucks. Here we go. Nice and deep, arms up in the air, hands to prayer, down to the floor, foot goes back, chaturanga, upward dog. I already feel better. I already feel better. And so, 20 minutes of that, I'm getting up, here I go, I'm 66. Saturday's my day off. And Sunday, pegboards, climb ropes, fingertip pull-ups. A lot of guys leave bloody, but it's worth it every second, all right? So, let's move on to the other half. Now, when I created P90X and I was exercising, I knew nothing about recovery. Like, recovery is sleep, and I'm good. What else do I have to do? Apparently, there's a lot of things that we need to do to avoid injury and the plateaus that come from the hard work that we're putting in so that we can improve over time. All right, look at LeBron James. The guy's 109 years old. He scored 33 points the other night. And because he spends, for every hour that he's playing ball or training, he puts 2 hours of recovery work in. All right, so here are your options. And I try to do all of them. Cold plunge, cryotherapy, sauna, foam rolling, massage, jacuzzi, bath, compression work, supplements. The kind of protein that you put in your body is hugely important, especially as you get older. Anybody here over the age of 30, raise your hand, over the age of 30. Keep those arms up. So here's what happens. As you get to be 30, 35, it's really hard for your body to build muscle mass again. It's called sarcopenia. You can put your arms down now. I'm going to switch arms, maybe. So sarcopenia is age-related muscle loss. And if you're not doing all these things, and you're not healing, and you're not recovering, and you're not taking in the right kind of protein, then you're more vulnerable to getting hurt. Who here's had an injury through exercise and it's taken forever to recover? Raise your hand. Keep that arm up if that was awesome. All right, so the idea here is to come up with these strategies and the techniques and these methods to mitigate the usual issues that come from overtraining. So it's finding that balance between how hard do I want to train, how much variety do I want to give to myself, how much recovery and mindfulness work do I need to do so that I can come back day after day after day. Now, I work out 6 days a week, hard. There's a lot of my peers can't. They need 2 or 3 days off because they don't have this. Raise your hand if you get, this is going to be fun to see for me, if you get 8 hours of rock-solid, superstar sleep, like you wake up, bang, I feel like $1 million. That happens night after night. Raise your hand. That's what I thought. All right? Who owns a bathtub in their house? Put your hand up. Bathtub in your house. Put your arms in the air if you don't have a bathtub. Do you live in a yurt? What's up over there? So, people that you never met decided to put this thing in your house. And put your arms up again if you have a bathtub. Keep your arms up if you're in it at least once a week. Fuck. It's the single most important piece of therapeutic items that you own. You take 2, this is what I do. When I'm sore, or I'm tired, or I'm stressed out, or whatever it is, I'm struggling, and I'm not doing my breath work or whatever, especially on Sundays, scoop 1, scoop 2 of Epsom salts, and I get in that thing, and I lower the lights, and I put on Led Zeppelin 2! And I just sit. Or Sade, that's another choice. Or Seal, you know. That's what my wife likes. So I would recommend, if you could learn anything today, fill the tub up and put some salt in there. Because a lot of everybody's dealing with stress and pain, right, fatigue. It's an amazing thing. And if you have access to these other areas in which to recover, it's huge. Food. Who here eats food? It's like 90% of the hand, no food for me, man. I'm an air guy, purely. The way we eat in this country is the reason why there's an obesity crisis. It's the only reason why. There's no other reason why. It's not genetics. You could be an ectomorph, mesomorph, it doesn't matter. You are what you eat. Jack LaLanne said that a long, long time ago. This quote here, exercise is king, nutrition is queen. You put them together and you've got the kingdom that you want to live in. So when I was younger, loved that pepperoni pizza, loved that extra cheese, loved that Dr. Pepper. Can't wait to go to the ball game and eat a bunch of hot dogs. Oh my God, bagels and donuts and processed food and Charleston Chews and Kit Kat bars and all that junk. All right? And somewhere along the way, I decided, along with everything else, as I was making these changes in my life, I said, I have to cut out certain things. It's not what I should, for me, this is me. You could not decide how to make dietary changes on your own. But for a lot of times, we're all thinking what we're supposed to eat. Like you look at that, of course we're supposed to eat that stuff. But what are we supposed to stay away from, which allows us to get healthy again? Because the majority of the food that most Americans consume are what's causing Parkinson's and type 2 diabetes and stroke and heart attack and cancers from head to toe. It's about the food, period. So last night, I'm in New Orleans, and I'm at the bar, and I'm looking at the menu, and I'm going, I'm screwed. But I found one called Happy Vegan. All right. And they made it with angel pasta, and it was massive, and I ate it, and it was my best choice. So every single time that you sit down to a meal, you have to understand that what you're eating is going to either prolong your life or shorten it. And you get those choices 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 times a day. Stand up right here, right now, if you feel like you're eating clean, you're healthy as can be, you're strong as an ox, and you're feeling as good as you can at this age right now. Anyone? Like you're on your game. Everything you're doing, everything right. And I won't make you all stand. Raise your hand if you want that, if you truly, really want that. If you want to get there, you want to feel good, you want to look good, you want to be strong and flexible and all of it. You can have it. It's a journey. It takes 3 or 4 months. Like tomorrow, if you started tomorrow, whatever it was, you could take the workout, you go for a walk, find some hills. Done. Check that box. Perfect. You know what I mean? Instead of the Kit Kat bar, instead of all this other shit food I've been eating for so long, I'm going to start to make some dietary changes. I haven't had an ounce of alcohol in my body in 30 years. I used to love it. And I was drinking for all the wrong reasons, because I was insecure. I wanted to fit better in the situation, whatever situationally I felt like I needed alcohol. And as I was exercising, this doesn't serve me anymore, man. I mean, the Surgeon General wants to put cancer labels on all alcohol, wine, beer, all of it. Because apparently it's the 3rd highest cause of cancer in the USA. Smoking, obesity, hooch is 3rd. So I think who I am and how I feel and how I look and all that has a lot to do with what I put in my gob. You control food with this and this. And you get that test every time you sit down. Do you have to be paleo or vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian or whatever? I used to eat whatever because I was in my 20s and I had the metabolism of a gnat on crack, That was just because I was an ectomorph. It was easy for me. But then I was noticing that the food I was eating was fighting the exercise that I was doing. They were not coming together. So now I'm sort of I call myself a part-time vegan. If I'm in Jackson Hole and there is medium rare elk medallions on the menu, I ain't a vegan then. Fuck no. If there's wild salmon on the menu, boop, going in. All right? My wife made chicken vegetable soup the other day, a pot this big. Gah. All right? I don't want to be pious about it. I don't want to be myopic about it. I just want to eat whole foods, healthy foods, as much as I can, as often as I can. And every once in a while, when there's a great, big, giant, gorgeous chocolate chip cookie coming out of the oven, dink, there it goes. All right? Because what happens is, I'm going to make changes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to become a pescatarian. You're going to feel deprived at some point, and then you're going to get off the wagon. So there's got to be a release valve in your diet plan. But if there's a shift, like I walked into a store and I see candy, no shot, I'm not getting candy. If I see bagels and donuts, they're off the list. I'm like, so I drink water, spring water, fake beer. I had a fake beer last night, a Heineken, kind of reminded me of the old days, right? And that's it, and tea. No coffee for me. I don't need the coffee. If coffee's not the worst thing in the world, but too much of it is. All right? So, that's all I want to say about food. I could go 2 hours on food, but, you know, I only have 10 more minutes. So, stress. Stress. Based on your occupation and our conversation earlier, you all deal with it on a regular basis. The suicide rate, both in the military and with firefighters, is very high. And so, and for me, I ended up with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome, if you don't know what that is, back in 2017. The company that I was with for 20 years didn't want to pay me anymore, so I had to go. And that was super stressful. And then a week later, there was the shooting in Vegas, and I had friends that were there. And then the following day, Tom Petty dies. So I had a lot of stress there. Financially, I didn't know what my future was going to look like. One of my best friends, I trained Tom for 32 years, on and off. And then I had, you know, gosh, the Vegas shooting, I had people there. I won't get into that. But so I was out of my effing mind at that point. And so what happens is, did anybody have chicken pox growing up? Chicken pox? Let me see, I'm just curious. So you have the shingles virus inside of you. It's in. You see in the commercials, it's real. So what happens when you have stress, the shingles will make their way out. Anybody ever have shingles? Raise your hand. Keep your arms up if that was awesome. I had it in my brain. 1 in 100,000 people who get shingles get it here, just inside the ear canal. So that affected my sight, my smell, my taste, and my balance. So I was so ill, 24/7. All I did was throw up all day. I couldn't eat. I would have a little bit of cereal and rice, and I would vomit. So I lost 30 pounds. I couldn't work out. I couldn't drive. I couldn't get out of bed. And I had Bell's palsy, which is a great look if you're on camera like me. So I thought, well, you know, my career's gone. I'm done. And a lot of people who end up with Ramsay-Hunt syndrome will have permanent bilateral vestibular hypofunction, which is a balance component. And I still have it a little bit. But that's why I get on a slack line, and that's why I ski, and that's why I go to yoga, and that's why I keep fighting it all the time. Because my body wants to age. Whoops, there you go. I still have good balance. Almost fell on my ass. I understand that if I don't find that recovery, if I don't learn how to rest, and if I don't find my mindfulness pieces to my life, then I could end up with that situation again. Because typically when you get shingles, it'll come back where it came back before. And I don't want to go through 4 months of hell where I can't get out of bed, and all I did was throw up. And I had to have my wife take care of me 24/7. It was brutal, right? So so look at this list and tell me if you had any of these issues: headache, heart problems, high blood pressure, weak immune system, weight gain, overeating, irritability. Of course, there's sleep disorders, respiratory illnesses, poor concentration. It's across the board. Stress is happening all the time, environmentally, behaviorally, and there are ways to mitigate it and control it, and we're going to do one of those right now. Raise your hand if you know what box breathing is. Raise your hand. Box breathing. So raise your hand if you have no idea what I'm saying, box breathing. So box breathing is something that you can do anytime, anywhere. In the car, on the john, wherever you want to. I do it first thing in the morning in bed. And when I lie in bed, I do it again. And last night I did it a lot because I knew I was going to be here in front of everybody and I didn't want to screw it up. So I did lots of box breathing to help me fall asleep. So box breathing is simple. I'm not going to do it for very long, maybe 2 minutes. Take a big inhalation, and preferably through your nose. One thing I will tell you if you learn anything, stop breathing through your mouth. Your mouth is not for breathing. It's for talking, eating, kissing. All right? There's no filter here. All the dirt, the dust, the viruses, the flu, everything here, no filter. The nose was designed to filter most of the crap that goes in because you want good, clean oxygen to get that carbon dioxide out. So when we do this exercise right now, it's just through the nose, all right? And if you're totally clogged up, you have a cold, well, then you're going to have to figure that out, all right? So stand with your feet on the ground, put your hands on your thighs. Nice and tall here. You don't have to be uncomfortable. I just want you to try this, all right? So no, you can sit. This is a sit thing. Yes. Yay! I'm breathing and doing what is he talking about? So, everybody let all your air out. Out. And if you want to close your eyes here, it enhances the outcome. Again, before we begin, just check in to see how you feel, right? Oh, I'm learning a lot, or this guy's out of his mind, or whatever you want to think, all right? It's all good. Let the air out. In a 4 count, I want you to breathe in. So when I get to 4, your lungs should be full. Are we ready? Air's out, out, out. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that for 1, 2, 3, 4. Let all that out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with no air, hold that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now take it all in right now. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let that air out. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And with no air in you, hold that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. Make it big, though. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold it for 10, 9, 8. You're going to be okay. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and let it go. And if you didn't feel anything, fine. Did anybody just kind of notice how everything kind of relaxed? Is that the case for anybody? Your just sort of mind is a little bit clear? Anyone? Because you can't always exercise, and you can't always go to yoga, and you can't always lift weights, and you can't always do all that kind of stuff. But if you're dealing with any kind of stress or pain or fatigue, it's right there for you 24/7, 365. I use that simple tool all the time. A lot of people like to meditate. Meditating is hard for me. I can't get the thoughts. So box breathing, and I'll do 5 count, 6 count, 12 count. I'll do as much as a 12 count as I got better and better and better. Right? My wife is prayer. It's all prayer all the time. That's how she finds her balance. That's how she gets in the moment. And that's how she gets there. For me, it's this box breathing all the time. In the plane yesterday, going through the thunderstorm, I did a little box breathing. You know what I mean? It seemed to kind of help me. Mindfulness. Now, mindfulness is different than rest and recovery. Rest and recovery are the things that the practices to kind of let that pendulum, like I said before, to swing in the other direction so you can come back strong the next day without getting hurt in the process. Mindfulness is a behavioral thing that supposedly, theoretically, hopefully, will get you in the moment. That is my dog. That's Charlie down below, that's Lola on the top. Charlie is the sweetest, kindest, most wonderful little animal in the entire world. He is my number one mindfulness practice. I didn't have dogs in LA because I'm a selfish son of a bitch. But my wife said, we need dogs in the house. Lola, up above, she's 15 pounds and she thinks she's Cujo. So if you come to my house, put on some shin guards. She's taking you out. But Charlie, man, whenever I'm struggling, I spend time with that boy. So mindfulness, the idea here is it's another way to deal with the stress in your life. All right, it teaches you to be in the moment, to be present. All right, so there's music. Who's got music going on in the house, apartment, townhouse, all the time? Always going. Who doesn't? Who doesn't play music in the house? Just doesn't. No, yeah. It's simple. Find your favorite tunes and crank them up. Walking is another one, right? In my neighborhood in LA, a lot of hills. If I'm not problem solving and I'm really struggling, I open up the door and I just start walking up and down the hill. 15 minutes out there, and I just breathe and I just look at whatever the sky, the trees, the grass, the flowers. That just takes my mind off all the insanity inside of my head. All right, Charlie Bear, that's him. Napping, taking a nap, man, ain't nothing wrong with it. But here's the thing about napping. Anybody like naps once in a while? Anybody know what a fighter nap is? So a friend of mine was an A3 pilot in the Navy. He used to put a 707 on an aircraft carrier. You know what I mean? I go, Bill, what's that like? He goes, man, it's like sex in a car crash. Damn. Kind of like what a lot of you do on a regular basis, going into the unknown. All right, so in between sorties, they got 15 to 20 minutes max. You get past that, you wake up, you don't even know what century it is, right? A nap only helps you heal and recover if it's 15 to 20 minutes. Other than that, it doesn't become useful anymore. Anybody know what the circadian cycle is? Circadian cycle? Yes, sir. Circadian cycle is that rhythm of sleep that you should be getting if you're getting decent sleep. You got REM sleep, you got deep sleep. right? And so it goes round and round and round again. When you take a nap that's too long, that gets all out of whack and you can't fall asleep that night and that rhythm goes to crap. So that's important. Breath work, we just did that. Meditation, Epsom salt baths. Get in your bathtub! Get in! It's magic. It's waiting for you. It's sitting there. Or you can just put soil and plant some flowers, whatever you want to do. But I recommend getting in. And reading, and my wife with prayer, and yours too, and saunas are really, really important. These are all ways to help you deal with stress. Or you could take pills from the pharmacist. The answer is you. Everybody here, you are the source. Using sources outside of yourself for a temporary fix is going to only create problems that you don't want. Guaranteed. So 10 minutes of yoga first thing. When I get out of bed and I'm freaked out, I just do that 10 minutes, man. And I don't usually want to do it, but I just, in my friggin' underwear, here I go, and I do it, and I'm better off because of it. A lot of people will just get into their second, third, fourth cup of coffee, right? They're using caffeine, the source outside of yourself, to be able to create a new situation inside of your head. Why not use oxygen? Fill your blood with oxygen that ends up in your head. And you're also moving physically, and you're working on your balance and your range of motion and your strength, and you're being mindful at the same time. 10 minutes of yoga in the morning, come on! Or not do it. That's not me. I don't do that. I grew up in a culture that seems stupid. All right. Well, then keep doing what you're doing and see how all that turns out. I'm here to share with you little tidbits that have worked for me and the 20 million folks who have bought my stuff and continue to do it, because you just feel better and you look better and you're more productive, you're more creative, and your brain functions better, and the list goes on, and I'm out of time, so let's finish up. So this could be number one on my list. Purpose, plan, accountability. So you have to figure out why you want to work out all the time. And if it's, if you're in your 20s and you're trying to meet a partner, you do it because, the reason why I did, but it didn't attract anybody. But it did help my brain function better. So for me, I want to live longer. I'm going to Jackson Hole today, and I want to get on that mountain, and I want to go 1,000 miles an hour as fast as I can, as hard as I can. I want those skis out here, and I want them out here. And that's why I do it. I work my legs and do cardio 3 times a week. My least favorite workouts that I do. But because my purpose is to be charging on that mountain. That's just what I want to do. All right? I also want to feel better today. I also want to be able to sleep better today. I also want all the things I've already talked about today. So my purpose is just to be a better today than I was yesterday. And the plan is you have to figure out when. When are you going to fit these in? Because if you're going to have success, you have to exercise all the time. People come up to me and go, Tony, how often? It's all the time. It's like paying your bills. It's like breathing. It's like eating. It's like work. The things that you already do all the time to survive. Everybody has managed that. That's why you're in this for your room and you're alive. It's because you're doing the basics to survive. Who wants to thrive? Raise your arms in the air. You want to thrive, right? That's my purpose. I just want to feel good in my own skin day after day after day. It's super important to me. And so to do that, you have to plan it. So all my workouts are on my calendar, and that's it. You can't schedule anything around it. That's when I work out. That's when I'm doing my thing. So I don't want any phone calls like the 3 I've just gotten. Anyway, but that's priority 1. And accountability comes from my crew, the people in my life, the company that I keep. So I have a big, long list of people who show up for chest and back, shoulders and arms, plyo, cardio. I invite 40 people to plyo. Maybe the most I've ever got is 20. I have a side yard, backyard, we work out. And the reason why I invite so many is because I hate plyo. It's just painful and it's awful, but it's super important. So I invite all these people. You have fire stations filled with the people that you work with. Half hour here, half hour there, wherever you can do it. A lot of people, I met this girl, Kathy. She lost 110 pounds with P90X. She was overweight. She had to get up in the morning, get on a bus, go to work. Her husband was like, why are you doing this thing? Why do you waste so much freaking money? Why are you buying this stupid thing? She lost 110 pounds. She worked out with nobody. She lived in Minnesota. Her basement was like 50 degrees, and she's in there doing plyo and yoga and chest and back by herself. And I met her on a set, and I thought she was a professional rock climber when I met her. And when she first started doing Power 90, she couldn't do 2 push-ups in a row on her knees. I watched her do 10 pull-ups in a row. So if you're consistent and you have a plan, whatever it is, with someone or without them, the change is dramatic. Richard Neal, 210 pounds. He wasn't even supposed to buy P90X. That's just insane. So if you've got the right kind of people around you, then it's a game changer. Who are they? Where are they? I think you know where they are. They're easy to find. And there are some people in our lives, they got to go. I'm pretty good at going, hey, man, you're drunk during the workout. I think you need to get your shit together before you can come back. Click. I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? There's certain people that just take all the energy, suck the energy out of you. You know who they are. And so how do you mitigate time spent with them? And sometimes they're in your house. Sometimes they're, part of your family. It's not easy to do, but those conversations need to happen if you want to thrive. So I just want to say that is all. Do your best, forget the rest. That's kind of the slogan for P90X. That's all I'm asking you to do. I'm just asking you to, if there's anything that you saw today that resonated with you in any way, shape, or form, maybe it's the box breathing, maybe it's setting up a program that you need to do 5-6 days a week to kind of make those kind of changes. I implore you to get to that next level because it feels amazing. And I know you can get there. And I want to say one more thing. This is for all of you. I have a new program. I lift Beachbody, and we're with something called Power Nation. You can go to powernationfitness.org if you want to take a picture of that. It's yours. But the promo is IAFF 50. That's 50% off the premium monthly or annual, and that's for life. That's the only offer that we have like that, but that's for all of you and no one else. So get in there, look around, play a little bit with that, and there's tons. There's a workout for women who are going through hormonal issues. There's one called the Power of 4. P90X had 12 workouts. The Power of 4 has 24 workouts. So there's a lot in there, and I want to thank you all for having me here today. So. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony. You gave us a lot to consider and think about. I worked at Fire Station 69 for about 5 years right by your house. So sisters and brothers, you have heard a lot of good information, but there's so much more to learn this week. I encourage you to be attentive and open-minded, but more so build relationships with our instructors and other IAFF leaders that you meet out there. Just like on the fire ground, we are stronger when we work together. Our first educational session today starts at 1 p.m. this afternoon with informational workshops followed at 3:30. And after that, there'll be a reception at 6 p.m. So thank you all for your attention this morning. That concludes our general session. We're going to have a quick band walk in and have a great alts, and always be uniters, always be fighters, and always be organizers.
Thank you.